Ruben Amorim was a former midfielder for Braga, Sporting, Belenenses, and AL Wakra. What's interesting is that he never really left his home country of Portugal, except for 1 year on loan to Al Wakra in Qatar. He ended his career in 2017, and just 1 year later, at just 32 years old, he took charge Casapia, where he coached 4 games with the second-tier club at that time and won 3 of them. He later got suspended for 12 months because he didn't have a valid coaching license. But after his suspension and with his new license, he took charge of SC Braga in 2019, where he had the best points per game ratio in the history of the club, with 2.39 points per game. Out of 13 games, he won 10 and only lost 2 in the Europa League against the Glasgow Rangers. In his debut game, he won 7-1 against BSAD, which also is the highest ever away win in the club's history. In his 13 games in charge, he won against Sporting twice, against Benfica once, and also against Porto twice, once in the final of the Allianz Cup, where he also won his first trophy. After his 13 games in charge, Sporting bought him for a whopping €10 million after they fired Marcel Kaiser, but they surely made the right decision. He brought the club home in 4th place and with the qualification for the Europa League. In the following season, they lost the quali against Lask Linz with 1-4, but after that, they played an unforgettable season, winning the first league title since 2002, and also winning the Allianz Cup against his former club Braga in the final, bringing home the doubly for the club. He ended the season with just 1 loss in the league and 85 points on the board. The 2021-22 season started with his 4th title, the Supertaça Cândido da Oliveira, winning in the final against Braga. This time, they are also playing in a 3rd competition, the Champions League. The first game went really badly, losing to Ajax Amsterdam with 5-1 at home, and also the second game didn't do them any favors, losing to Borussia Dortmund with 1-0. But after these 2 losses, they made a comeback with 2 wins against Besiktas and 1 against Dortmund. They made into the round of 16, the first time since 2008, being second in the group behind Ajax. Unfortunately, they drew Manchester City and lost 5-0 on aggregate. At the end, they also finished second in the league behind Porto, only bringing home the Allianz Cup in the end. The 2022-23 season was also a roller coaster for Amorim and his team, only finishing 4th in the league and dropping out of the Champions League as 3rd in the group. But they at least made it in the Europa League quarter-finals, beating Arsenal on the way and only losing to Juventus with 2-1 on aggregate. It's his first trophyless season ever. But in the current season, they made an unbelievable comeback. They are currently sitting in 1st place, 4 points in front of Benfica and 13 points in front of Porto with a game in hand after beating them with 2-1 last weekend. They are also in both the Allianz Cup and also in the Taça de Portugal final. Also, the Europa League is running pretty smoothly, finishing 2nd in the group stages. Unfortunately, they lost in the round of 16 against Atlanta Bergamo with 3-2 on aggregate. This season, they are also the most dominant team, with scoring 79 goals in 27 matches, which are around 3 goals per game, and only conceding 27 goals. They are miles ahead of the competition. This season, we also see Amorim's main play style. He always uses a 3-4-3 formation, with the goalkeeper being the first player in the build-up play. Also, both midfielders will drop into the defense in the build-up play to create a numerical advantage. Both Coates and Saint Just will act as the wide center backs, being in the defensive half spaces between the central defender and the winger. This creates the 3-2 shape in the defense. Their build-up varies between build-up through the wing-backs, the midfielders, or utilizing long balls. If being pressed high by the opponent, they will often pass the ball to the wing-backs, so they can use the available space in the wide areas to drag the ball forward. When the winger is being pressed, it automatically creates spaces in the midfield, and so they will pass it forward through the lines to the midfielders. While being pressed, they sometimes put their studs on the ball, so the opponent will have to press them even further, creating even more space behind the lines. Contrary to De Zerbi's playstyle, Sporting don't mind to put their studs on the ball to enable their attackers to find gaps in the midfield and in the offense. After the first pass through the midfield line of the opponent's press, they start a quick transitional play, with everyone running in attack to overload the opposing defense. Their progress of possession is more randomized and dependent on the situation. The front 3 are always rotating to keep the opponents guessing, and Sporting is also not afraid to go vertical really fast. In the defense, Sporting uses a man-oriented zonal marking, which combines man marking with the compactness of the zonal marking, similarly to Thiago Motta's tactics at Bologna. In the build-up play from the opponents, the two wide strikers are pressing the center-backs while the central striker presses the dropping midfielder from the opponents. Generally, Amorim wants his formation to stay static in the defense, so everyone holds the shape of the 3-4-3 to prevent gaps from forming, but they make use of pressing traps. So by closing down one passing option, they force the opponent to make another. This player normally is being man-oriented zonal marked, so they can win the ball back really easily. Ruben Amorim is one of the biggest coaching prospects in Europe. Nearly every top club who are looking for a coach are knocking on his door. He transformed Sporting into an even more dominant force in Portugal and will probably do the same with his next club. He plays quick attacking football and is not afraid to use contrary tactics in comparison to other coaches. And let's not forget, he is still very young and has the potential to develop into one of the best coaches this century. But what do you think? Will Ruben Amorim finish the season with the little Portuguese triple? Where will Amorim go, and do you think he will perform as good as now in the future? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.